Well, hello, hello, everybody. Thanks for coming in tonight. Um, can y'all hear me? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Something doesn't seem to be working right here. All right. Tonight, I just wanted to talk about some different things here in what's going on with trucking and everything. You'd think I would know by now to shut my ringers off on my phone, but I do not. Um, who do we got in here so far? Cents per mile. Thanks for coming in. Good afternoon from Florida, where it's 86 degrees. Managed to almost get backed into twice today. Idiot drivers. Uh, go for three. Go for three. Sorry, I just got to silence all my ringers here. Kind of decided to do this at the last minute here. I was talking to Fate Trucking on the phone. He says, "You should go live tonight." I said, "You're right." So let's talk about this messed up freight market we're in. Papa in the house. Good evening from Salt Lake. Mikey Nine Toes. Yes, sir. All right, some new names in here. Tonight is also a cause for celebration. It's my birthday, so we're gonna use this fancy DIY coffee mug here and have some be brought to you by Winter Jack Tennessee cider. It's a great day for it. It is nasty outside here. We got quite the little blizzard going on here. Just got home from um, running some errands and decided it was appropriate for a Winter Jack evening here. So we're gonna do that. Oh wait, see who we got in here while we're waiting for some more folks to come in. Steve Wildman in the house. Thanks for coming in. David Edwards. There's Fate Trucking. Says boom. We're still waiting for that video on that new truck there, Fate Trucking. Got to get that. We need to be introduced. We're going to have a contest, I believe, to name it. So let's make that happen. Seven Seas Transport. WCF Invader, we await your speech. Oh, man. Grade 8 Transportation, good evening. No early notification this time. Yeah, this is a last minute thing here. I decided to do. Gary Bates went live late the other night. Caught that. Bemenda Boy, John Connolly, Hot Seat. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Griff MC, Desert Okie Pam. We got all the usual suspects here. Fate Trucking at $25 super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Trucking is great. Amazon is great. What are you doing at Amazon? You shopping on Amazon? Because I know you sure ain't pulling Amazon. Hot Seat says happy birthday. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. My wife had to educate me on how old I actually was. I thought I was 1 year older. She's like, "You're not that old, you idiot. Do the math." So yeah, it turns out I'm one year younger, thanks to her. Fate Truckin says, "Happy birthday. Take your shirt off." Why would we take off this proud Wisconsin Badgers T-shirt? Come on now. Come on. WS Invader, I found a round trip dedicated run that's paying $230 a mile, riding it till it dies. Variable volume per week is the only issue. Yeah, I wonder if it's that thing. I sent Snorlord a thing, and a Missouri run. He said you're already doing that, so I know what you're doing. Know what you're doing. Greg Zimmer says, "Good evening from West Virginia." Good evening, Seven Seas. Did I miss anything on your classic? You still have it? I do. Having trouble getting to it, and now I have work to do on my orange truck. I need to put injectors in it, and what else do I need to do? Fix some things. Neither one of them are starting at the moment. The orange, they both froze the batteries. My fault. They were old, weak batteries anyway, and then it got really cold, and I didn't run the trucks for a couple weeks, and they froze because I was out. I was just using the gray truck, so I ain't sitting outside putting new batteries in the bitter cold. They won't even take a charge, so they're pretty much junk. Papa says freight prices are low. Saw a load from Salt Lake to Nashville for 96 cents, 43,000. Yeah, yeah. We'll talk about that some. Grade 8 says you're back to 2 years older than me. Ooh, nice. Alex Express, happy birthday, thank you. Seen a load from Reno to Laredo for 36 cents a mile. Damn it. Yeah, so let's let's talk about all that. I just want to talk about some things. I love freight waves. It's great information, very in depth, very thorough. Um, Look at some other things here and there, but it seems like anybody wants to talk about the forecast in trucking, or the current state of trucking is just about trucking. Like it's its own little thing, and exists in its own little world, and doesn't tie too much to other things. And that's just not true. It's, for one, it's a leading economic indicator. It's subject to a whole bunch of things. I mean, everything we do is related to the broader economy. So I just want to talk about some bigger things that are going on in the broader economy. It's like, duh. Um, you hear people talking about we might be going into a recession this year. Uh, we're in a recession. We've been in a recession. I don't know why they continue to lie that we're not. A recession is, all a recession is technically is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. We have that on the books. We are in a recession. They don't like it, so what do? They come along and change the definition of recession so that we're not technically in a recession. And that's just BS. Like we're not smarter than that, but it seems like we're not, because everybody just keeps repeating the lie. And nonsense. We're already in it. We're in the beginnings of it. It hasn't even, but it will. It will. So that's one thing. That's just driving me nuts to have to listen to that. And the economists, expect. Oh, this, they keep talking about this soft landing. Um, that's a bunch of crap too, as far as I'm concerned. There's not going to be a soft landing. They don't even confess to the truth of what's going on around us currently. So there's that. Uh, Obviously, we all know about interest rates. They've committed to uh, preemptively to 3 more hikes this year. They're not. The people are saying, well, it's smaller. No, they're going to be, sizable interest rate hikes. They're raising rates faster and higher than Paul Volcker did in the early '80s. He didn't even raise them this fast when he was trying to shock inflation. They're going to exceed that, and they're going to stall out the economy. They're not giving the rate hikes a chance to take effect before they're on to the next one. Or they don't even have to be on to the next one. They just have to talk about the next one. So they're already saying, 3 meetings from now that they're going to raise them 3 more consecutive times. I mean, it's as good as them being raised now, because everybody reacts to that. So we have that going on. That is stalling out home building. Spring is the home building season. KB Homes reported that they have a 68% cancellation rate and new homes to build for this year. The national average is a 20% cancellation rate. So that's not just like you call up and say, I am canceling. You got to pay money. People walking away from their deposits, there's cancellation penalties for building a new home. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And they're one of the nation's larger home builders. Who's going to build a home at 8% interest? Right. So that affects freight. This part of the seasonal pickups in the spring are in flatbed, and flatbed is closely tied to building. That doesn't even include really commercial building. It's residential building. So there's that. What else? We had flooding in California in the areas that grow a lot of produce. How long does it take to recover from that? What kind of yields are they going to get for a produce season out west? We'll wait and see on that. We have no energy policy in this country. The only energy policy we have is fossil fuels are bad. Fossil fuels bad. Fossil fuels bad. Without providing any relief or alternative to the contrary, just fossil fuels bad. We're going to have electric vehicles coming out our ass. How are we going to charge them? Because you can't build a damn power plant, but that's something you don't talk about, I guess. It's practically illegal to build a power plant in this country, or to get it done. So, we have no energy policy. That's going to continue to mess up fuel prices and everything related to what we do for a living. We're still experiencing parts shortages. And if you can't get parts, who the hell can afford them? right? You ever tried to buy something here lately? Um, credit card statistics. We're back nearing all-time highs in per capita credit card debt, but now they're saying that um, spending on essentials. So it used to be, you run up credit cards buying stupid, dumb trinkets and stuff. Uh, spending on essentials, which is food, utility bills, stuff like that, is up 35% in the last couple months. So now people, that's people are shows people are struggling to pay their bills if you're buying your groceries on a credit card. If you're paying your rent or utilities on a credit card, uh, that's not a good sign. That's a sign that the consumer is not doing well, and consumer spending is what drives the need for things that we do. Um, what else we got? Um, something I like to go by, the Baltic Dry Index. There's this thing called the Baltic Dry Index, and it is in the crapper. It's a measure of like overseas bulk goods shipping. It was down 34.14% last year. We had a little bit of rebound this year, but it's tanking again, and they're estimating for it to be, what the heck is it right now? Like five. Let's see what it closed at today. Let's see what the closing number was today. Let's go to who do we want to rely on for that? Bloomberg. Let's see what Bloomberg has to say. Um, here we go. Baltic Dry Index closed at 594 today. That's a pretty good. It had a pretty good increase today, but they're expecting that within the next 12 months for it to be down to about 500, 504. That's not good. That's not good. So that's another 20% downturn in an already just destroyed market. So it means demand for imports is ridiculously low, probably because the consumer can't afford it. So that's that Baltic Dry Index is a key economic indicator. That's nothing to ignore. Um, people are saying, yeah, end of February here, things are going to start to turn around in freight. You're going to have some seasonal upticks. 2023 is going to be a weak year. I'm telling you. So if you're sitting here trying to hold on and say, we get to the next 3-4 weeks, everything's going to magically return to normal because spring is coming, all these things are going to happen. People start building to get out and do things. The numbers are showing otherwise. The numbers are showing that the consumer isn't going to be spending. They can't afford it. Home building largely is going to slow down. Um, all these things. So I don't know why all of these things aren't kind of brought into these discussions of freight, because they damn sure do affect us. They certainly do. Um, the consumer price index is largely a lie. Let's look at the consumer price index here. Index. We'll try for a chart here. Where are we at? Okay. Well, that's a terrible example. The CPI is not seasonally adjusted. Uh, Increased 6.4% over the last 12 months to an index level of 299. Okay. Um, I need a year over year number on that. Well, at any rate, it's a bunch of crap anyway, because it doesn't include the things that we use most in our life: food and energy. You're seeing the inflation at the grocery store, um, the gas pump. We got a little bit of relief here recently, but your utilities, everything food and energy related is through the roof, and that's not included in these numbers, and that's just a fallacy. But what they don't report enough is the producer price index. What are the goods costing these large manufacturers to bring in? Um, that drives price inflation. If their raw materials are more, they're that's going to cause price inflation on the other end. So, I read a statistic. late last week. They're talking about corporate debt. So this lady is on the Wealthy On podcast. If you ever get a chance to listen to that, go to the Wealthy On podcast. And was this? Let me try to find this lady's name because I love her. She's freaking brilliant. Um, where is she? Come on now. Is it a live stream? Maybe. There we go. Stephanie Pomboy. Um, she was talking about all the data we're being fed. How much of it is a bunch of crap. Uh, Brilliant, and how deflation is becoming more of a concern than inflation. Eventually, as the economy slows, they stagnate it, stall it out. You're gonna, your assets deflate. But anyway, she's talking about corporate debt and something like $1 trillion of corporate debt is due to be rolled over this year. And everybody got drunk on high off of this cheap and free money for the last few years, and companies borrowed all the money they can. Well, not all the companies are fortunate enough to have the kind of ability to lock in those rates for 5 years, 10 years. Uh, some of them can only go year to year or a couple years at a time. And a lot of this debt is becoming due to be rolled over this year. So, how do you think it's going to be when these companies that are already strapped for money now have to roll over their debt from 1, 2, 3% to 6 or 7%? They can't afford it. So she expects a lot of corporate bankruptcies this year and a lot of uh, takeovers, uh, stuff like that. So she was going through that, like the companies in the S&P 500 and how much cash there was. Let's just throw a number out there. As something for some reason, $10 trillion in cash stands out in my head. And she's breaking down like the top 5 companies or something. I'm like, I hold 90% of that cash, and the other 400 and whatever companies are essentially broke. They're cash poor. Um, they won't be able to survive a substantial downturn. So these are the people that we do business with. Remember, this does affect us, right? We do business with these people. We haul their freight. We take them their raw materials. We do, you know everything. They manufacture our parts. They service our vehicles. They sell us fuel. So this all affects us. And for the life of me, I don't know why these conversations in trucking are so isolated to just trucking. No pun intended. That was not a just trucking joke. Let me catch up on some comments here. I get too far into it. Oh, I had I had something else here, but I just lost it. Maybe it'll come back to me. Um, all right. Seven C's newsflash. We've been in recession. Yes, yes. And the number of people that go along with the narrative that we're going to go into a recession is it's mind numbing. Who the heck's calling me at 8 o'clock at night? Let's see. Maybe you guys can listen to me chew somebody out here. Hello, this is Adam. Yeah. Yeah, front and left corner. False alarm. False alarm, but I had to take that. Sorry. Um, What were we talking about? I'll just go through some comments here. You caught up. I'm in Ohio at a customer delivered in the morning and back to Vegas, kind of warm. And oh, you are still younger than me. Oh, cool. Listen, younger than somebody. Soft landing like that Chinese balloon. Yeah, there you go. Um, they might change the definition of soft landing as well. Yeah, that was my shop coming there. I had to put it in for something. They're just giving me a call. Lots of storms all over. Stay safe. Yeah, we're getting a heck of a blizzard here. 100%. We're in a classic spiraling recession. Yeah, yeah. Chris says FreightWaves article on OIDA survey cost per mile for respondents. The mean figure was 238. The median was 215, and the mode, the number mentioned most frequently, was $3 per mile. Yeah, I read that. I call bull on that. I call BS on that. There's if you got a cost of $3 per mile, I mean, unless you're I mean, if you're super heavy haul and got this massive equipment, blah blah blah, you, there's no way. I've done the numbers many different ways. I mean, if you run 3,000 miles a month, yeah, and you got a high payments, yeah, then you might be $3 per mile. I can't see it. 238 a mile is even high. 215 a mile is on the upper end of. You shouldn't even be at 215 a mile doing hauling general freight, van, reefer, flatbed, general commodity freight. There's no way you should be that high in cost per mile. I'm sorry, I'd have to look real hard at things. And if you do, better get a grip. You got a big surprise coming. Hey guys and gals, some premium book. Gary, that's gross. That's gross. Steve Wildman says, "You batting 500?" Uh, I don't know. I think I'm right on this one. I was right on this year. Last when Paul and I were talking, said this was going to come. The pendulum swinging back the other way, and it's going to swing hard, and it has. It absolutely has. Dan's Outdoor Adventures only 12 minutes late to the party. Yeah. Um, Gary Bates, Stephanie Pomboy. Yep, there you go. Gary knows. Cash says, "This is serious stuff. Did I miss the fart and dick jokes?" No, I'm waiting for you. Do you want a link or are you home? Found a 2016 utility with a carrier, 11,000 hours for 37K. Would have bought it a couple months ago, but now thinking that have the savings would be better for now. Cash, piles of cash, big piles of $100 bills right now. I wouldn't take on any new debt. Seriously. Like, we're probably close to a bottom. I will say that. Like, I'm not going to deny. Hopefully we're close to a bottom. I don't see any cause for that big bounce to go back the other way. Like, we could be that anchor just dragging across the bottom of the ocean for a while in a sideways market, and that's going to be pain. That's going to be pain. I mean, hopefully, it'll rebound a little bit before that, obviously, but this could last a while. Give me a reason otherwise. Yeah, you're going to have your seasonal upticks here and there. You're going to have your produce season in Florida. You're going to have your produce season in your border towns. Um, Washington, Michigan, all your different seasons. But look at last year; they were nothing spectacular last year, and this year is even worse. The other problem is you can still flip over any rock in the mountain and find a truck available underneath it. The supply of trucks is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There needs to be a lot of trucks out of the spot market. A lot of trucks out of the spot market. It has to happen, or things. It needs to be drastic, or things can't change. Even if we have this rebound, or I think somebody was saying February 20th there's supposed to be an uptick. Well, yeah, February 20th was a national holiday. You're going to get an uptick on every holiday week, no matter what the holiday is, just about practically. And it's President's Day. It's no major holiday, but it's still a federal holiday. A lot of people don't work. You're going to have less trucks available. Blah blah blah. It wasn't much. Did you see a lot? You could uptick freight 50% and rates will still be cheap. The supply of trucks is ridiculous. They got some of this has got to weed out. Now you are seeing auctions fill up. Hmm. I still think it's got to be more. It's got to be more. Um, oh, all he's learning says hello everyone parked in icy central New York. Oh, Doug Fox, thanks for the sober perspective on things. Hey, yeah, well, and here, listen, I don't want to sit here and be doom and gloom, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But I don't feel like anybody's really telling the whole truth on this. Put it all together. Put it all together. And I had a couple more things, and then the phone rang, and now I freaking forgot. And they were pretty good. Maybe it'll come back. If somebody mentions it in the chat, if you can read my mind, then I'll definitely talk about it. But I should really write things down, I guess. Juniper K. Woo. All right. There we go. Stuart, the hobby trucker. What's happening? Hey, what's happening? I recently discovered that Stuart has a channel. I did not know that. So everybody check that out. New York Hut. And that wasn't it. Let's see here. Bugatti says FJB. Hey, that doesn't might be a good thing. Let's make America US great again. Okay. Unmute. Yeah, I just had to mute the phone there for a second because it was some talking some business. Lease operators have a high cost per mile. They do, but you can't tell me it's $3 a mile. I mean, even if you got that $4,000 a month truck payment, I mean, I'd like to believe you're running 10,000. I don't know. What do we want to say? 9,000 miles a month. What did we say? $4,000. That's 44 cents a mile for a truck payment, and that's going to be, say, if you got a brand new truck with that kind of payment, you better be getting like 7.5 miles a gallon. So if we're at a net, $4 a gallon, fuel's come down. If you're with a big fleet, you're getting some discounts. Probably paying around we'll say 4.50 a gallon divided by 7.5. It's another 60 cents a mile. So you're at $1.06. Where are you coming up with another $2 per mile cost? If you're in that lease purchase with a carrier, most of your insurance, hell, I'll be generous and put another 25 cents a mile on there. You're at $1.31. Let's just spitball a number here for put your wages in there. We'll just say 50 cents a mile. I don't know. You're at $1.81. You can, even if you want to do another 20 cents a mile, you're $2. But if you're paying that $4,000, you probably got warranty. Not paying for a ton of maintenance, maybe some tires and stuff and oil changes. I can't see over $2 a mile, and I think $2 a mile should be on the high side. Mine's nowhere near that. I don't run that kind of expensive equipment, but I can't feature like $3 a mile unless you're doing something that requires a high input. Some big oversize or windmills or whatever. I can't wrap my mind around that. I think that's fuzzy math. It's not knowing your numbers. Stewart says, I think I could possibly believe cost per mile being that high for some. I know guys that pay a shop to change bulbs and wipers. Okay. Or yeah, I guess, okay, if you're getting 5 miles per gallon. But you're gonna have to change, man. Like that's not sustainable. And I hate that word sustainable, but that's not sustainable. Start your uncle coach. Stuart, your uncle coach does that. Okay. I don't know who that is. Florida watermelon 3 weeks dried up. Yeah. Yeah. Even if spring isn't here yet, I thought all the carriers and owner ops going bankrupt was going to cause a rebound. I no longer think that. No, it's got to be like mega substantial before it'll even make a difference. No, it have to be almost apocalyptic. There's that many, and in the last 3 years, and believe it or not, people are still coming in with authorities. I had to get a license plate for a vehicle, and I had to call down to Madison, and the guy's like, "Sorry, we're like 3 weeks behind." So what the hell are you 3 weeks behind? He's like, "We're like backed up with all these plates." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "We got all these applications coming in for new accounts." I'm like, "New accounts means new authority. Are you out of your mind? People are jumping in this right now." He's like, "Yeah." I told you that. I said, "It's like the worst freight market in many years." He's like, "Yeah, I know, but it's what they're doing." I'm like, "Yeah, that's insane." Um, okay. Frank the Tank hanging in the snow in Wisconsin. Yeah, it's snowing like heck here. Data and business. Oh, I remember one of the big things I wanted to talk about. People turn to the stock market all the time, right? Stock market's decoupled largely from most of the economy that's going on. And then everybody's in advice in the time of if the prices are going down, buy stocks. I don't look to the stock market for my answers. The smart people look to the bond market. The bond market tells the truth. Okay, and the bond market is exponentially larger than the stock market, but nobody ever talks about it. The bond market is equity. I'm sorry, the bond market is creditors and debt. Okay, so they get paid first. Corporate bonds, blah blah blah. Uh, there's something called an inverted yield curve. We've had an inverted yield curve in this country for a while. Um, short term, what are short term rates? Short term rates are almost, I think it was more than a full percent higher than long term, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty close. Um, we'll see here. What is the current bond yield curve? So, an inverted yield curve is almost a dead giveaway of an economic recession. There's only been a few times that we had a short term yield and curve inversion last year. We made it through without a defined recession, but almost, I don't know what percentage of it's a high percentage of the time that an inverted yield curve is an indicator of a coming painful economic recession. So the 10-year government bond has a 3.9% yield versus the 2-year bond that is at, wait, 4 4.6. Hold on, I gotta check here. Yeah, the 1 month yield is 4.5%. 1 year, 5, go away ads, 5.06%. 2-year, 4.69. 10-year, 3.92. So you're better than a half a percent higher. No, 10-year is 3.9. 1 year is 5.0. So that's more than 1% higher on a 1-year bond than a 10-year. That's an inverted yield curve, and that's a dead giveaway of tough times to come. So that's the numbers. I mean, a guy could go on and on. That's I don't know why everything's not talked about. It's like your body. Your body is not just one organ, right? You have an organ here, you have an organ here, and one over here. They're all connected, working together to support an organism, right? The economy and trucking and everything is the same way. I don't believe for a second these unemployment numbers they put out every time they put out numbers. I think it's a bunch of crap. Um, even though inflation is rising, also um, individual incomes are being eaten up by inflation. So I just don't see it. Oh, anyway, back to somebody saying that um, there's going to be an uptick or a rebound on the 20th. I don't know why the 20th was singled out, but I think it was if you were trying to make a prediction, that's a pretty surefire bet, right? You could say, well, what causes rates to go up? When do rates almost always go up? Oh, the week of a federal holiday. That's a pretty safe prediction. If I'm looking to make safe predictions, I'm going with the sure thing. So I'll tell you right now. Um, I'm going to tell you rates are going to go up July 4th. Rates are going to go up the week of Easter. Rates are going to go up the week of Thanksgiving. Rates are going to go up the week of Christmas. It's almost a guarantee. If I'm looking to make guarantees, these are the kinds of things that I say, right? Um, I'm just painting a broader picture here of what's going on. So to change what does it take to change my mind? Um, well, how about the rest of this bottle of Chambord raspberry liqueur, black raspberry liqueur? That's a good start. But give me the information, give me the data of what's going to cause that. What it'll take is increased consumer demand for imports. You can say, oh, imports aren't coming because of the problems in China. That's the way it's been, right? The imports weren't coming from China because China was in lockdown. China couldn't manufacture, China couldn't export. But now you have low demand to go with it. So if China comes back online, the demand isn't what it was. There's going to be less being shipped anyway. If China comes back online in full force all at once, you're going to get a second round of inflation. I'll tell you that right now. Not that this one's over from any perspective, but you'll have inflation 2.0. Um, they need to do a soft startup to stop from causing more damage here. But China, I don't. Who knows what the hell they do? They do what they do. I run pretty low miles due to the short haul game, and my true cost is below $2 a mile. Okay, pretty good. It's too late. I'm over my head. What do I do? If you asked me that question maybe 2, 3 months ago, I'd tell you if you see it coming, if you're struggling now, sell your equipment while it's still worth something. Unfortunately, equipment is not worth what it was 3 months ago. So I mean, it's a tough decision. Um, what's your situation? Can you get some of your costs down? So this is a tough question too because I was have a habit of looking at the macro instead of the micro. So the macro would be the bigger picture. Like, do you have a family? Do you have kids to support? Is it just you? How bad do you want this? Can you hunker down? You know, live in the truck for a short period of time, stick it out, and come out the other side looking good? Or, if you got a family at home, you got kids to take care of. Like you got to that's your number one priority. To hell with the truck. Park it, get a company job. So it's not a one size fits all thing. Oh, in relation to that, totally unrelated topic, but um, yeah, we'll get into it. So I was told I've been in the truck recently. My choice, 100% my choice, but it's a choice I have to make. So I've been in the truck quite a bit recently, and somebody said, "Look at this idiot. Um, he's a miserable failure because he's in the truck. I guess things aren't going so well after all." I ain't gonna lie. That for anybody to sit here and me tell you how great things are, be a complete lie. But that's not why I'm in the truck. I'm in the truck because it's the time. Like, we've had some things happen. I've had a couple of guys break down a couple of weeks in a row, and then this last week I had a broker screw up a load. I don't know if it was the broker or the shipper. Somebody screwed up. Doesn't really matter who. So at any rate, we have a regular customers that we support, and I will tell you what. Now is not the time to be letting customers down. Because guess what? If they get a bug up their ass one day and they're tired of you, there's 100 other people waiting to take your spot. So these things happen. I jump in the truck and I go freaking, if he gets held up or he breaks down, I go pick up their load that they were supposed to do. It don't matter where the hell it is. This week I did it. Last week I deadheaded 1,300 miles to pick up a guy's load. That's my choice. They didn't make me do it. I didn't have to do it. They didn't threaten me to do it, to say, if you don't get this load moved. I had them on 2 consecutive loads for the same customer. They didn't say, if you don't do this, you're out or you're in trouble. Guess what? I'm saving my mulligans because someday there's going to be a day when I can't bail them out. And I'm banking my forgiveness, is what I'm doing. I will not lose that customer right now, and whatever it takes. So, yeah, I lost my ass. I didn't make any money. I worked all week, killed myself, and I didn't make any money because I had all this deadhead. I'm fine with that. I'm fine because I know how important this is right now. It's like a zero error game right now. I don't have the kind of room to be making those kinds of mistakes. So that's why I did that. But so that kind of led me to think about some other people right now that people are piling on. And obviously the number one guy is just trucking, right? And I got to thinking about that a lot. And like people are saying, "Oh, you can't make it in trucking, so you're Ubering." Well, that's a thing of like, are you judging somebody solely on what they do for a living? There's a bunch of crap. Like when somebody comes up to you, we have a bad habit of this as truck drivers. When somebody says, "Tell me about yourself," you know, tell me about Adam, right? Do I sit here and a lot of us first thing we say is, "Oh, I'm a truck driver," this and that. Like our whole thing is a truck driver, right? Well, if you can sit here and judge him for doing this other thing, if you look at the bigger picture, you can go a totally different way with that, right? And I'm not picking on him, and I don't care if he sees this, whatever, and saying nothing bad, but the guy's got a family. That's his number one priority, right? Is to take care of his family. Newsflash, that's what a real man does, is take care of your family. So, but then you say, oh, well, he's only doing it for content. Hey, so what? That's another way to take care of your family, right? Your freaking number one obligation is to yourself and your family, not to anybody who watches you or anybody who's going to judge you for what you do. There's all kinds of people doing all kinds of things right now. Good for them. Good for them. If that's what you got to do to make it, or that's what you got to do to take care of your family, then that's what the frick you do. Swallow your pride, and that's what you do. Um, the ones I wouldn't be so kind to is say, "Oh, things aren't what I want them to be right now, so I'm just going to stay home and pout." Well, hey, if that's just you, that's cool. If your wife and kids and family is going to suffer for it, get your ass off and go to work. If that ain't the kind of work that's working for you right now, go do something else. But a man takes care of his family. So let's keep that in mind. Let's not give just trucking too much crap because you don't know. We don't know his their situation. I suspect he doesn't have to, but that's even more of it is doing it when you don't have to. You go through things to and the guy spends a ton of time with his kids. Man, I wish I had that when I was a kid. I wish I had a dad that spent time with me and did things with me. The guy's always doing things with his kids, so you know, uh, cut him some slack. And I'm not defending him. I'm not. But what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And the man's making a living, and that goes for other people. You see other people. Oh, I'm back in the truck because this other thing didn't work. I don't know. Way I figure, as long as a man is working, doesn't really matter what he's doing. You take care of your obligations, take care of your family, your kids, and I don't. Oh, you see people. Oh, what do you know? What do you know? You're a freaking burger flipper at McDonald's. At least you're flipping burgers. You're not standing out there selling drugs and doing dumb shit, being a hoodlum. But anyway, enough about that. But Stratus, I don't have a great answer for you. You're over your head. What do you do? Well, there's something to be said for going out on your own terms. If you think you can't make it, go out on your terms instead of somebody else's. It's so much less painful. It's going to be so much more pleasant. Try to sell your equipment, get out as whole as you can. If you can afford it, park it for a while. Just find some other work to do. I don't know your situation, but waiting till the last minute and having somebody else dictate how it happens. Number one, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and number two, it's going to be really unpleasant. If you lose control of the situation and the bank takes your equipment, they're going to sell it for pennies on the dollar to one of their other subsidiaries at a quote auction, and then they're going to come after you for the difference. Um, Whereas if you can go out and sell that equipment on your own, you're going to get far more money for it probably, and control that situation a lot better. So just try to control that part of the situation as best you can. It would be my advice. Um, and if you think there's something maybe you can change, get some, talk to some other people that are in the industry and see if you can get some counsel from them. Uh, Fate Trucking says your equipment doesn't run. That's why your cost is so low. You just freeze your batteries. There you go. Bugatti says Facebook has a company with $4,000 truck payment, 800 a month insurance, 2,100 plates a year, 20 cents maintenance. Crazy. Okay. Wow. Facebook has a truck. Oh, somebody on Facebook, you must mean? Okay. Low weekly mileage averages equals higher cents cost per mile requirements. Low weekly miles. Yeah, it's just math. That's what I was saying. If you run 3,000 miles a week or a month versus 10,000 miles a month, it averages out to a higher cost per mile. I don't care what anyone says. I truly believe there's still a lot of money to be made out here. If you run a tight ship and keep as many hands out of the pot, you'll almost always succeed. There is still money to be made out here, and that's part of the reason I'm saying like it's not the time for me to be letting the customer down. Right? It's there's still money to be made. It's going to be harder and more difficult, but you can still do it. People, there's going to be trucking. Like, not saying this thing is going away. I just I don't think the whole picture is being told. Um, and I don't want somebody to say, "Oh, this really sucks right now. It's not working. I'm going bankrupt." But I'm going to hang in there for another 8 weeks because so and so said it's going to get better. Well, based on what? You gotta have all the information. Um, I like freight waves. Sometimes I feel like carrier 411, right, is obviously biased against carriers. Everybody hates them. I feel like there's a lot of things like that that are for the shippers and brokers, blah blah blah. And DAT, I think, is designed to help the brokers make money rather than the carriers. Um, Freight waves, the small guys like you and I cannot afford their sonar. And what you see these people post is a small part of sonar. Um, it's designed for the bigger companies, which leaves us without information, without all the information. Um, that's did on that. I'd suggest getting into flatbed with all these bridges getting hit. Fate Trucking says DIY. Tell me more about the body, please. You go explore that on your own. Most of there's owner operators that thought COVID rates were normal. Wrong. I said it till I was blue in the face, and it's said all I can say on that. This is closer to normal, believe it or not. I mean, spot market's rough. It's a rough place to take your lickings. Now, the quick defense of that is, oh well, contract rates are falling too. Yeah, they absolutely are. But guess what? Like the volumes in the spot market thins out way before contract rates. It does. And when things turn, it can swing the opposite direction. But if you're leased onto a large carrier with a lot of contract freight, you're going to weather the storm a lot better because you're finding out that the cheap freight, the overflow freight goes to the spot market. Guess what? There's not a ton of overflow freight right now. It's getting contracted. So um, the the survivability is higher in the contract world. The upside isn't as high like we saw the last couple years, but a lot of times you look for downside protection. Right now, I'm all about downside protection. I was talking to a driver about this the other day. We are trying to bid some freight for him. Yeah, and he's like, "Well, I need to get this, or I need to get that." And I'm like, "Listen, what you need to do is see this freight you're hauling right now. See how it's going down by about 10% every single week. You need to put a stop to that and lock in something that is a little bit longer term here, even if it's for 6 months. Maybe things are a little bit better then, but downside protection is something we forget a lot about. Oh, with both feet, I didn't see that. Thank you. Uh, $5 super chat. Happy birthday. Thank you. I expect. Oh, I didn't call you back today. I will call you tomorrow. My phone was ringing off the hook today. Text me tomorrow. Eric Conklin, good evening. 73 in Tennessee today, now 35 in Ohio. Ooh. Bugatti says JT is far from broke. He's a hustler. Found a different way of making money, Uber and content. Why not? Nothing wrong with what he's doing. No, I agree. Now, don't get me wrong. Like philosophically, we were a little bit opposite on trucking, and I got no problem with that. I can honestly say I think I think a lot of him for what he's out doing right now. I don't care if it's Ubering or if he's changing tires on the highway. You're You're working. You're working. So, oh, Shannon Thomas says happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you. Ronnie says 100% respect in my book. Yeah, hey, you know, even if it was somebody I didn't like I've met Justin, he was nothing but nice to me. He didn't have to be. But let's talk somebody else, for example. Right? Say it was somebody I don't know much about and I did not like. Still got to be honest and give him credit for freaking like for grinding and working. Right? You can not like somebody and still be honest about it. Um, so it ain't even that kind of thing. Um, that's why your guy took that 200 advance in Gary, taking care of someone's family. There you go. Uh, I'm busy checking says, "Sup everyone? Hope we're all coming out on top." Yep. Stuart says, "I used to have sonar when it first came out, and I'll be perfectly honest, there was more info than I knew what to do with. I hate to think what it costs now." Yeah, we did Paul and I did a 1 or 2 hour, I don't remember, uh, Zoom meeting with them here. There's more information you wouldn't know what to do with it all. It'll blow your mind. Like it's to the second, right? It's far more advanced and in depth than the DAT information. Like it makes the DAT stuff look archaic. It's very expensive, depending on what package you get. But it is the one we were looking at was well over $5,000 a year, well over that. Um, yeah, Music City says he 5,000 a year for a single truck operation. Yeah, there was some added stuff on there we were looking at. So I just signed a deal with my job, $10,000 a week guaranteed with him paying 100% of fuel, hauling hazmat barely 5 days per week. Dang it. Whew. Man, that is a sweet deal. That is a damn good deal. Kenworth versus Peterbilt, happy birthday. Thank you. And the High Beams also, happy birthday. Thank you. Um, what was, there was one other thing. Yeah, I don't, and then you gotta, I don't know. I have a general feeling about things too. Sometimes the data gets to be too much, right? Not that it isn't good or useful, but it gets to be too much. Sometimes you just got to back away and look at your experiences and your situation and say what feels right to me. Um, and I got to say the four most dangerous words that'll probably make me hopefully I eat these words. If I eat these words, we're all better off. But it just kind of feels different this time. Or no, the four words would be this time it's different. But I'm just going to say it just kind of feels different this time. Um, we don't, that's not even including potential for worldwide conflict right now, escalations of just about everything. Um, the energy thing should be way more concerning to people, I think, than even what I'm talking about, um, because it'll hit home. Uh, we had an energy policy. Now we have nothing. We have a pie in the sky um, national energy policy that's going to cause a lot of short term pain. And what if we have a bad hurricane season and we wipe out a few more refineries? That's another thing we can't build here is refineries. Our refining capacity is slim, and it's a fragile situation. So um, I don't know. We need some changes there. Um, Stuart says paralysis by analysis when it comes to data sometimes. Yeah, it can blow your mind, and then you just kind of like, "Phew, screw it. I don't want to think about this anymore. It's too much." But yeah, sometimes you gotta go with your feeling. Like over the last couple of years, when things were so hot, and I was telling Paul, and I'm like, man, this can't last. And then so many people were, this is the new normal. This is the new normal. Like you don't want to live in that world. You don't know what that's going to do to the economy. Number one, and number two, it's just not possible. Like, you'll cause inflation to go insane. Uh, and then I said, well, when this changes, when it swings, when the pendulum swings the other way, it's gonna swing hard, and it has. And that wasn't because of the numbers. Like, we didn't have numbers on that. That was just something that a guy could feel because of the different shifts you've been through over the last how many years. And I think a lot of other people that have been around a long time always kind of felt that way too. Um, but you know, it's unfortunately it turned out to be true. Cents per mile says time for a birthday shot. You got three happy birthdays in a row. Well, they got to come out of a DIY coffee mug here. There we go. There's I don't know, there's probably 4 or 5 shots in here. I don't know. We don't need it all at once. We're not looking to do a drunken live stream here. Just I didn't get to do nothing tonight. We were gonna go out because it's $1.50 burger night. It's the local pub, but the snow is just too bad. We're not going anywhere. I had to put her in 4-wheel drive to get in the driveway, and even then I was uh, dragging my skid plate. Harvey says I have 4 dry vans sitting right now. I wanted to add 4 trucks to pull them, but a little scared now. So here's the thing. Now let's kind of flip it around here. So I just talked about, spent an hour talking about how much things suck. Let's kind of go the other way with it. If you're a guy like Harvey, or kind of like what I'm planning for, there's going to be some real opportunities here. I don't want to be completely negative. So do what you got to do to survive. If you make it through this, you're going to be in a real good position. You're going to be in even if you don't, I mean, things will turn around, equipment will get dirt cheap again. But if things turn around, there's going to be a lot of people that need things done. You're going to be behind the 8 ball on a lot of things. Like, take for instance, coming out of COVID, right? All kinds of things needed to be done and have been neglected for the last how many months, like home repairs, uh, building, blah blah blah. Right? There's going to be work, and people are going to be needed to do that. So, if you can compile some cash, if you hit the cycle right, if you're smart and if you get your crystal balls working real nice, you catch it when the equipment hits bottom. There's also going to be the fine predicament of a lot of people are going to be looking for work if we go through that kind of economic pain. Oh, that's something I got to go back to that. So Jerome Powell, Fed chairman, uh, going back, I don't remember if it was the last meeting or the one before that. He was talking about the situation. He used the word pain. We're gonna have some pain. We got to go through this pain. I can't remember. Like, I pay attention to these things. If I go back in my memory bank, I don't remember a Federal Reserve chair ever using the word pain before. That strikes me as a tell, but maybe I'm you know semantics, but didn't kind of seem that way to me. They choose their words very carefully because just their words can have quite an effect on what people do. Anyway, um, yeah, I'm gonna be looking to buy some equipment. Hopefully, um, I kind of have 2 trailers here in the line here that I spoke for. I can get out of them. I don't know that I want to. Trailers aren't really coming down like they should. Trucks are. Trucks are definitely coming down. Even the 2 trucks we bought in the last 2 months are now substantially lower. But I try not to go back and look at that because you're just going to feel bad about it and beat yourself up. They were still good decisions at the time. They're both just getting you know substantially better fuel economy. So those were good decisions. But you're going to be able to upgrade. Granted that whatever you're trying to get rid of isn't going to be worth as much, but if you just keep running it, you get higher mileage, get your use out of it, whatever. You're going to do such a great job upgrading. You're going to be in the catbird seat for the next few years. And if you're looking to expand, it's going to be cheap equipment and people looking for jobs. So it's going to happen. Trucking is not ending. Trucking is not over. Trucking will always be here. I guarantee you, trucking will change. Um, it'll be here, and somebody's got to do it. Now, there will be opportunists that use this downturn as an opportunity to further their cause. and those will be your autonomy people, your safety people, your government. Don't be surprised if they keep wanting all these new regulations. It's just always going to happen. Uh, it was hard to get done over the last couple of years because we were strong. Now we're weak. So um, people will capitalize on that. Uh, Brokers and shippers will get tighter controls over things. It'll happen, but there'll come a time when they need us again. So everything's a cycle. Uh, I know it hurts. This is probably going to be a bad one, but it's just cycle nonetheless. These things happen. They always have and they always will. So, but I hope it turns around and things in our favor again. I hope people just don't go buck wild like last time and just say, I got to have a truck at any cost. I got to have a trailer at any cost. I got to get in on this. You're further accentuating the boom and bust cycle of this freight market and the spot market in particular, because it's not as easy to access the contract market unless you lease onto a carrier, and it's totally different. But they can greatly affect the spot market. You can make the booms higher and the busts lower. There's We're living it. There's no denying it. This is exactly what we're living right now. Absent the several hundred thousand, well, that's just authorities. The several 100,000 authorities. You got to figure how many of them are more than one truck. Absent all these thousands of new authorities over the last 3 years, we would be just fine right now if it was the normal amount of new entrants. What was it typically? 20? Was it 20,000 a year maybe? I think in 21 or 22 we had like 250,000 new entrants in 1 year. February of 2022 alone was 20 some thousand new entrants. I mean, absent all of that, we would probably be doing quite well right now because capacity would be normalized. Capacity is through the roof. Um, Chris says dragging the skid plate on your four-wheel drive lowrider isn't that all that impressive. Oh, come on. It's a Chevy 3/4 ton. Does that count? Uh, oh, Snorlord's in the house. Thanks for coming in. Says, what did I miss? You missed it all, buddy. You missed it all. You're going to have to go back and watch. I probably out doom and gloomed you. No, it's last two new refinery builds blocked. Yep. And it's not just refine. I ain't getting into pipelines. People seem to be very butthurt about the whole pipeline situation. Oh, it's this and it's that. Well, you got to understand, the oil market is a global market. If you cut off a pipeline halfway around the world, it affects here. If you cut off a pipeline, even though the oil is supposed to go around the world, it still affects prices here. It's a commodity. It's priced as a commodity. It's a global market. So it does work like that. Electricity out here at Pilot on 25 south of Alabama, New Mexico, pumped down caused by wind. Ooh. Well, yeah, but shouldn't it compensate? Because if it's windy, all the windmills should be turning extra hard, making all that much more electricity. Isn't that what they want you to believe? You ever notice that anytime you drive past a wind farm, like 25% of the windmills are shut off? Just insane. That's money, tax money well spent, right? Tom WTA is shut down also. Jeepers, where are you guys going to get fuel? Harvey says my 4 flatbeds are moving pretty decent right now. Just would like to have the dry vans making money too. LOL. You'll get there. You'll get there. What time your live start? Took south route for Sparks, Nevada. 40 shut down in Arizona. Gallup to Kingsman, snow and 70-mile-an-hour winds. What is with the crazy winds this year? They just said I had a guy up in Wyoming call me the other day. He's like, dude, 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds and 85-mile-an-hour gusts. I'm like, don't get the hell off the road. Like, he wasn't on the road. He was already off the road. But I'm like, you got to be crazy. If you're 80,000 pounds, it's going to ragdoll you. That's 85 miles an hour is freaking crazy. But what time did we start? We started an hour and 4 minutes ago. So I was a minute late. So 7:31. Cents per mile says I got in this game at the absolute worst time. I haven't had much issue finding loads for flatbed. It's a constant grind for sure, but heck, bills are paid, credit cards are paid off, money in the bank. Cool. Yeah, it's I said it's not that it's undoable. You can do it. Um, I know of a guy that has a friend that is a owner operator, and this dude doesn't like he won't call anybody on the phone, and there's only like two or three brokers he'll book loads with, and if they don't have nothing, he'll just sit. Well, he ain't been generating any revenue lately, so like if you can't try some new things, mm, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this ain't for you. Step out on a limb. Sorry, I'm clicking on some different things here. Um, there's always opportunity for growth, but a lot of people lack the discipline, hold until the time is right, and want it now. Yeah, and here's the thing: uh, we have, as Americans, right? We tend to follow certain patterns, and one of the places you can look to that is to the stock market, right? Regardless of what you think of the stock market, this is the pattern that most people follow. I'm going to put my money in. It's going to grow, 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 grow. And when the crash comes, I'm going to let it crash and then I'm going to pull all my money out. Well, okay. Well, you just took your money out at the worst possible time. And now you're going to miss out on all of the growth that when it rebounds. But we do it time and time again. There's like undeniable statistics on that, right? I'm cashing out my 401k because the stock market's tanking. Like 2008, most of the people I know do that. I'm like, wow, I don't know, put some more money in there. But we do that in a lot of things. Like people still piling in the trucking at the peak of the market. If you just get some, and that's part of the reason that wanting to put out these other numbers is just to get perspective on things, right? So if I was to say this is bottom in the freight market, right here, right now, I'm calling a bottom, which I'm not, by the way. I'm just using this as an example. If I say this is bottom of the freight market, it'd be like half, probably 90% of the people would be like, oh, I got to sell everything, get out. This is ridiculous. I can't make it. This is the bottom. I'm done. If you have some perspective and a long term plan and maybe some business minded, you'd be like, ooh, this is the bottom, huh? Well, um, I'm doing okay. I was thinking about expanding. If this is the bottom of the freight market, that means equipment's probably pretty cheap or near its bottom, probably lagging a couple months behind. Um, I'm going all in, or I'm going in. I'm buying some equipment. I'm going to expand. That's the way a lot of places do it, and they tend to do well. If you go back to the stock market, they say, "Oh, these greedy corporations and these greedy this and greedy that," because they don't follow those patterns. They're the exact opposite. They're buying when we're at bottoms. They're not buying all the way up to the top, and then things start to turn around and crash, and they sell. They recognize the opportunity, and through education, they know patterns and things will recover. And blah blah blah. Will there ever come a time when they don't? A lot of people believe that. It is a possibility. But guess what? If it doesn't, not much is going to matter anyway. Trust me. We're all going to be equally as bad off. Um, so if I believed that this was the bottom right, I'm kind of holding off. I have a new guy starting here in the next couple of weeks. Um, I'd like to be if I knew this was bottom, I would say we I can handle this. We're still doing okay. The things we were planning on are still working out. Um, Now's the time for me to hire more people so that if things start to tick up, I'm already positioned. I'm fighting this battle in my mind of do I do that or not. I still want to get some information back on some of this freight I bid, see if I'm going to get it. Um, I'm starting to think no. If I knew I was, I would be bringing more people on, but don't have any. I don't have clarity on that. I don't. I don't think this is bottom. I don't think we're far from it. We're probably close, but there's that other part of I don't see a strong rebound. Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am. But you know, with both feet says, oh, so anyway, going back to the guy saying that I'm a miserable failure because fleet owners don't do that. You don't drive a truck. You you stay home and you manage things, right? Well, that's ideal, right? But let me tell you what you do as a business owner. You get your ass in the truck and you do it. And it's also what you do as a leader. Um, you never ask your guys to do anything or make the sacrifices that you won't make yourself. Um, and it's setting a good example of, hey guys, this is how far I'll go to take care of the customers and take care of, this is how much I care about having things set in place for you. Um, and then not wanting to lose this customer or this freight. It makes them understand and appreciate the same thing. Like, this is a group effort here. What one of us does affects all of us. And it's kind of like that, having a job where you work your ass off for not enough money, and your boss rolls in a brand new Porsche, right? Now your boss is an asshole because you know that all your hard work got him that Porsche. Where I can honestly say everybody, well, mm, I think probably most of the guys that work for me drive a newer car than I do. You know, you set that example, and that's part of leadership. It's not desperation or anything like that. That's maybe it is. It's desperation to keep that customer, keep the business rolling. It's a lot of work to keep your business rolling uphill. So, by that guy's definition, if you have more than one truck and you're still driving the truck, you're a failure. So, with both feet, I want you to know that you're a failure. Is grade 8 transportation still in here? Going to have to tell him that he's a failure. Who else do I know that's got more than one truck? Uh, oh, Gary Bates. Gonna have to tell you that you're a failure. We're all failures because having more than one truck and you still being in the truck makes you a failure. So uh, that's the mentality you fight too. Stuart says where you want to be price wise. For oh, okay. Uh, Anyone know of a 16 or 17 Cascadia DD15 auto double bunk 270-ish gears? Let me know. I know of some 18s and 19s, but they're probably more than you're wanting to spend. Good evening. Well, good evening, Don. Easy Travel says, with the industry how it is right now, is it better to get my MC with the trailer paid for and only a truck and insurance payment, or become owner operator with a company with a lot of deductions? A lot of it depends on your situation too. You got to figure your personal situation here. Are you strapped with a lot of debt? Do you have a lot of home expenses? Um, these things factor in. Maybe not so much in the last few years because you could make mistake after mistake and just still be wildly profitable, but the margin for error is slim right now. So I mean, it's always a good idea. It's always great to have paid for equipment. Can't lie about that. It's a tough time to start with a new MC right now because not only are you having the increased costs from being new, but um, there's a lot of. I'm assuming you're talking about booking broker freight. A lot of brokers make you want to have you 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months before they'll give you a load. So right off the bat, you're limiting yourself to a handful of brokers that are going to give you freight in an already tight and tough freight market. That's going to be a big challenge to overcome. Now, if you have all that worked out ahead of time, ignore all that, right? Um, or become an owner operator with a company with a lot of deductions. Well, I think there is a fine line there. You can be an owner operator at a company that doesn't have a lot of deductions. Um, look to some of your smaller to mid-sized companies. Um, if honestly, what I'd be looking for right now is somebody who's going to pay me a fair rate that I want and has a ton of freight. If they have access to a ton of freight, I'm feeling pretty good right about it right now. Um, this is trucking, man. You can always change. You're not locked into anything. I mean, if you're doing a lease purchase, you're gonna walk away from that, but you could have your own truck and then lease it onto that carrier. A big fan of, controlling your own asset. Big fan of that. So try to swing it where you got the best of both worlds. Bank up a bunch of cash before you start with your own MC number. You're gonna need a lot of room for forgiveness, margin of error in case you have a big breakdown, all kinds of things. You float some fuel, 50,000 ish, depending on history. Okay, Tom W. Good luck growing anything under this administration. I look at it as just another challenge. Um, I have opinions on that. Not really favorable. Uh, it's a tough place to do business right now. Something that nobody's talking about. I've said it a couple times, but I want you all to remember this. In 2024, we got a substantial tax increase coming. The current tax plan expires in 2024. So you're going to lose your 20% QBI deduction. The standard deduction will go back to half of what it was, unless somebody does something to extend it or whatever. But yeah, I wouldn't trust the people to do that. So big tax increase coming in 2024 if something is not done about it. Harvey says, "What video did you do that talked about how to find contract freight?" I recently did a live stream about just bidding on some, but go back to I have a whole playlist with a gentleman called Paul from Freight Connect, FR8 Connect. They're all live streams. They're in their own playlist on my channel. Start with the oldest one, where the first time I brought him on, and watch all the way up to current. Um, you'll learn some. Paul's a good man. He dropped some nuggets there. Jerome Jones didn't know it was your birthday, but happy birthday. Well, thank you. Thank you. Grade 8. Yes, this failure is working on freight bids right now while listening. LOL. Awesome. Congratulations, grade 8. Glad to hear you're working on freight bids. Yeah, do you find that like personally offensive right now that you know what it takes to expand a business, to bring somebody on, to be like responsible for somebody else, and then somebody have nerve to call you a failure because you work in your own business? That's a that's just another thing to fire the desire, Kenworth was Pete about one truck making me 10K per week. No need for more headache. There you go. That's that's really good. I see you must be doing hazmat tanker. That's pretty sweet. Congratulations. Tolga says good morning from my side. Wow, it's 8:50 p.m. Where I'm from. B Saunders, happy birthday. Thank you. Tom says was buying new furniture during Christmas time. Late in the evening, went to the restroom. The owner was in there cleaning the restrooms. That's what you do, man. When what you do it, you do every job in the business, and guess what? You're the last one to get paid. Everybody thinks that just because you're a business owner, you make a ton of money and you're getting rich off your employees. Well, guess what? If you're a small business, you're the last one to get paid. Employees got to be paid first. Um, it's just the way it is. Like you have obligations to them. Frank G's truck says I have a 2016 former Walmart truck, not an automatic, $42,000 APU, 10 speed, 770,000 miles. I like them former Walmart trucks, man. I almost bought several of them back in the day, but just ended up buying something else. Um, I think Walmart's a good fleet to buy trucks off of. Tom W. I was impressed with Paul. Either the info he shares. Okay. Yeah, he's a good dude. Um, he doesn't. Sorry, chat jumped around on me here a little bit. Um, full of information, wealth of information. It's nice to have somebody that still cares about the small guys like us. He won't even work with, if a large brokerage or whatever comes to them, he won't even work with them, or a standalone brokerage. If you're a small trucking company and you want to have a brokerage, he'll give you a little bit of help, but um, still believes in the little guy. Tolga says it's 5:49 a.m. here. First day's coffee and unhealthy breakfast is already on my table. What country exactly are you in, Tolga? I only recently realized that you were across the pond. Sorry, I had to cough there for a second. With both feet says, "Yep, driver is sick, so I'm on westbound 84 in the snow." Oh, you miserable failure! Out driving a truck. Out driving a truck. That whole mindset it just comes from it's people believe things work a certain way, right? I always said it's the dangerous part is what you think you know. Um, Grade 8 says, I don't talk to many drivers and only watch 3 YouTube truckers, so I hear very little, and I'm a poor listener. Well, hey, you apparently watch the 3 that matters, right? No, that's cool, man. Congratulations on getting that other truck and the driver. I heard it's working out well for you. Frank Chuck says, I drive once in a while because I love it. That's a good feeling, isn't it? To be able to do something because you love it, not because you have to. Um, Stewart says, money is a byproduct of running your business the best it can be. So many people want the money and reputation without putting in the work. Fair statement. And that's not just in trucking, is it? Um, that's everywhere. Tolga, I heard you had another earthquake out that way. Hope you and yours are okay. Oh, oh, you're in Turkey. Holy cow, man! Were you wrapped up in the earthquakes at all? I had no idea you were in Turkey. I figured you were like in England or something. Holy cow. Hawaii? No, I live in Turkey. Okay. Uh, there's a stranger, Velox 18. Hello, all you truckers. Um, how's it going, Velox? You haven't been on. Would you, if I sent you a link, would you care to come on and talk about your new activity at all, or even about anything? The trucking community misses you. They miss you dearly. Let's see. Um, I have your. No, I have your email. Uh, Here we go. All right. I know I got your email. Oh, it's in my other account here. That ain't it. I got more email accounts than you can shake a stick at. I tell you what, and I use them all. Uh, Use this one here. I'm gonna send it anyway, just in case. We all miss you. We all wonder what's going on. There, I sent you a link if you care to join us. Now I can't find my way back to StreamYard. Here we go. All right, how are the dealings in the aftermath of the earthquakes? Yeah, I'm curious too, man. That's a bad deal. Whew. I bet you're gonna have some changes to building codes over there. I tell you that. Oliver 880 says, "Let's talk about food prices being large and in charge is expensive." Yeah, I paid $18 for a tuna sub last week in Connecticut. Come to find out, it's not even tuna. That was disheartening. Um, Unfortunately, the still situation is still pretty serious, but everybody is safe in my close environment. Okay, 40,000 people died in that earthquake in Turkey. Holy cow! I suppose that's probably just that they know of so far. The cleanup is going to take a long time on that. I wouldn't mind buying a used maroon Maverick truck. Looks like a good setup, good looking truck. I've heard they spec them for pretty good fuel economy too. Hmm. Easy Travel says a trucker told me he got his MC, let it sit while working for another company for 6 months to let his MC age before he went on his own. Is that possible? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Um, if you want it to be active, though, you got to have some primary liability slapped on there, and that's going to cost you, eh, depending on you, your record, your credit. We'll give it a broad range of $500 to $800 a month, just depending on you. Um, but yes, you absolutely can do that. A lot of people do that actually. Uh, BLX is not tonight, but I love to hop on another time. Okay, all right. James C. I'm thinking about switching over to chemical tanker. I've heard that's a good gig. I know the fuel haulers make pretty good money. Armoris, hello. Thanks for all your help for us. What's your thoughts about the EPA and the trucks before DPF? Do you think they do something on the federal level about it? My thoughts about the EPA is I have no good thoughts about the EPA. Well, mm, I mean, I'm all for a clean environment, but I do not equate that to the actions of the EPA or the federal government. Like we do that. EPA is just another bloated federal government agency that's, in my opinion, corrupt. Uh, Trucks before DPF. Um, well, you got to separate. Okay, so before DPF, you had EGR. Those models of trucks sucked with the first generations of EGR. But if you go back before EGR, some of the best engines ever made, most reliable. So that's kind of what I think about that. The first generations of EGR sucked, and then they added DPF, and they sucked even worse. Until you got the later generations of that, and even up till recently, the newer generations of the DEF. That those first generations of EGR and just DPF, the fuel economy was just awful. It was just tragic. So, um, be cautious of that. From like 03 and a half, 04 to 04, late 03. Can't even remember way back that far. When they first started the EGR, up till like, was it 7 or 8 when they went to the DPF, something like that. I don't remember years very well, but I wouldn't even want to own one of those trucks. The fuel economy was just so bad, and then all the problems with the ACERT, that Caterpillar came up with, just a lot of problems. Oh, Velux says, I got more email accounts than you got canceled ice fishing trips. Be glad that ice fishing trip got canceled, Velux, because just the temperature up in northern Minnesota yesterday was -20 with a very stiff wind. So you're probably looking at a -50 wind chill. California boy like you would have froze up, shriveled up, and went and hugged the fireplace all day. All right, WCF Invaders got to hop off. All right. Oliver says, I want me some Sabaro pizza. I look at it every day at the Lake Forest Oasis, but I just can't bring myself to pay $20 for a piece of pizza. Yeah, no kidding. Go across the way and get you some of that shawarma at the Indian, I guess, Middle Eastern place there. That stuff's pretty good. I can't get past the Panda Express in that place. I got a hard time. It's like it's got some kind of magnet in it. It makes my truck pull to the left when I drive past that place. Robert B. Bada Bing. There he is. Can you haul snow in a dry van? I'd be certainly willing to try. Be willing to try. Let me do something else here. Hey, Truckin', if you're still up, I sent you a link. Uh-oh, I got an email from the shop here. Da, da, da. All right. Oil leak was coming from a different place than I thought it was. I got an oil leak. The thing about oil leak is little oil looks a lot bad. Sometimes it's hard to tell where it's coming from. Where did I leave off? All right. 9 o'clock. I think we're going to wrap this up. I just want to go on and complain a little bit and vent and tell my side of the story. So, I don't know. When all these articles come out, just don't let it be at that. Do more homework. Put it all with the bigger picture, right? Nothing is unrelated. It's all related. It's definitely all related. So, everybody take care. Thanks for the birthday wishes. Appreciate that. Have a good night, and we're going to see you next time.